Good morning and welcome back. This is our second episode of Unwind and Knit with me. To everybody that viewed my first episode, thank you very much, and thank you for all the positive feedback that I got. You have encouraged me to come back and do some more, so thank you. To anybody who's tuning in for the first time, welcome. My name's Lisa. I'm from Christchurch in the South Island in New Zealand, and this is just a fun knitting podcast. I'm not a designer. I don't have my own brand of yarn. Nothing's exciting like that. It's just me talking about knitting and patterns and yeah, what's out there, what I've experienced, and hopefully share a whole lot with you. So welcome. If you do like the episode, please remember to subscribe. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Lisa NZ Knitter. I'll put that in the show notes below. So feel free to follow me on Instagram and share it with other people. That would be really good. Also, I will provide show notes to anything that I talk about, any yarn. I'll put the show notes or the links of where it's available, and the patterns I'll also put the links so you can source those out if you want to. So yeah, welcome. Hope you got a cup of tea or coffee, and let's sit back and enjoy some knitting talk. First of all, I'll talk about what I'm wearing. I'm wearing Adira by Truly Myrtle. It's this number here. And I thought I'd wear it today because in Christchurch we've been really lucky and we've had 3 days of around 19 to 20 degrees, which is really warm for this time of year. It feels like spring, and I really wanted to wear a t-shirt, so that's what I'm wearing, my Adira. This pattern, Libby Jonson knitted it in a Harnie Hoolies yarn, a silk, 100% mulberry silk, and it's called Silky Mcsilkface. I have put the link below to where you can get that. I would have loved to have had a skein to show you, but I haven't, and because we're in lockdown, it's not like I can just nip down the shop and buy one, but I would have loved to have shown you the actual yarn that is recommended, because I didn't do it in the yarn that was recommended. I did mine in a yarn from another New Zealand Kiwi dyer, Go Knitty, and the wool is called Amalfi. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but that's it there, Go Knitty. And this yarn is 50% alpaca, 25% silk and 25% linen, and the colour is called My Favourite Jeans. So it just really spoke to me because that's what I wear it with, is jeans. And I will just show you, it's got really nice drape to it. It just sits really well. Just sits really well with a pair of jeans, and it's just a nice casual top. I think if you did it in the silk, you could make it look even more special. You could even dress it up as more of a piece of formal clothing rather than just casual clothing. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. I love it. I love the colour. I love the drape. I love the way it feels. It's a really nice casual summer top. Really nice addition to my wardrobe. It's actually the first summer knit that I've ever knitted. So yeah, and I did this in January. January of this year. So I highly recommend it. For any of you viewers that follow Outlaw HQ, which is a yarn store here in Christchurch, they're doing a knit along in September, I think, but they're doing a knit along on this pattern, this exact pattern, and they're going to have all of the Harnie Hoolies Mcsilkface yarn. They're going to have it all in store, so I encourage you to pop along to their channel or their podcast, and you'll hear more about that. But yeah, really good knit. Really encourage you to do it. It's also it's a good beginner's knit, but also if you want to challenge yourself a little bit and learn some new techniques, because what it has is a I-cord bind off, and I didn't have a lot of experience with I-cord bind offs. but I'm a huge fan of them now. I'll probably use them on other garments, even if it's not called for. So yeah, that's probably the newest technique that I learnt with this one, was that I called bind off. So yeah, highly recommend it, and think that you should give it a go. Works in progress. Now, it's only been 5 days since I did my first podcast, and I never planned on coming back so soon. I thought it would be maybe 10 to 14 days between episodes, but I thought I should try to get a bit of momentum. Doing these podcasts isn't easy. It's not easy just sitting here talking to a camera. It's even harder playing it back and watching and listening to yourself. So I thought I should get a bit of momentum and get a bit of confidence and just jump in and do it. So yeah, so my work in progress, I haven't done that much actually in the last 5 days, but I'll share with you what I have done. I told you last time I was doing another Truly Myrtle design, the Floozy 2, this one here. And I have made quite a bit of progress, because what I've done, I've modified the pattern and I'm doing it as a short sleeve. So I've done my sleeves there, I did 30 rounds, and I've just done a wee 1 by 1 rib bind off for the sleeves. I have tried it on and I love it. It's I think it's going to be a really nice piece that I'll wear a lot. I think it'll be a little bit warmer than this top, because this is really quite light and airy, but I think for autumn and spring I will get a bit of wear out of this. And to be honest, I've only got a few inches to go on the body, and then I'll start doing the band. I will probably do a good sort of 8 to 10 centimetre band on this, I think, so it just sits nicely on my jeans. And I haven't done any shaping in the body, so it will be a little bit boxy. I've also done a size bigger than I did originally. So my first floozy, I did a size 3, and I've gone up a size to a size 4, only because I wanted it a little bit more boxy. My first one is sort of quite fitted with not much positive ease. So yeah, I've deliberately done that one a little bit bigger, so it's a bit looser, catering for it to be a summer, well, not summer, but something I can wear when it's a bit warmer. Yeah, so I did make progress, which is good. My other work in progress that I had showed you was my top by Caitlin Hunter, Miss Arena. Now, where is it? Here it is. So this is the pattern I was working on last time I showed you. Caitlin Hunter by Miss Arena. Once again, a summer top. It's my jam at the moment, is summer tops. But what I did, I showed you last time, I had finished all the colour work and I divided for the sleeves and was starting on the body, and I didn't like it. I wasn't happy. The fabric was just too tight, and the neckline was too, I did try it on and it was just too tight around the neck. I didn't like the cast on I used. It wasn't stretchy enough, and it's a hard decision to make, but my theory is, if in doubt, pull it out and start again. So that's what I did. Since I saw you last time, I unwound it, went right back to the beginning, and I've started again. And as you can see, that neckline is a lot looser. I've gone up half a size in needle. I can show you there. The lace work shows up a lot nicer than it did in my first attempt. And yeah, so I don't know how you guys feel about pulling your work out. It's, like I said, it's a tough one, but yeah, my theory is if it's a little fault that I can ignore after 3 or 4 rounds, I just ignore it. But if it's something I keep going back to and something I keep looking at that's just not making me happy, I really have to pull it out and start again. So although it doesn't look like I've made much progress, I actually have. Yeah, I pulled it out and started all over again. So that's where I got to with that. The other work in progress that I showed you was my pink Fizz by Andrea Mowry. And now that's this pattern, just to remind you. A beautiful boxy jersey. boxy. Yeah, that's the right word. Now, in my last episode, I discussed how I went up half a needle size, and I did get a couple of questions about that. So there's my swatch. Now, I did that swatch in a size 4 needle, and it's in gauge and it's beautiful, but I actually just thought that the fabric was going to be too warm for me. It was going to be a really warm jersey, and sometimes I feel the heat a bit, and I wanted something a little bit airier. So I went up to a 4.5, and I don't know if you can see the difference, but there is quite a difference. You see this one on this side's a lot lighter area, where this one's a little bit more dense. So what I did is I went from a size 4 needle to a size 4.5, but originally I was going to knit size 3, and I went down and I've knitted a size 2. Keeping in mind that Andrea Mowry's jerseys are quite oversized and quite boxy, with a lot of positive ease. Now, that wasn't an exact science by any means. I do encourage you to watch some of the professionals talk about swatching and gauge and whether to go up a size or down a size. I know Libby Jonson has done some really good tutorials, and so I encourage you, if you really want to know the exact science behind it all, to source out some of those videos and learn about swatching and gauge. What I tend to do is I swatch because I want to know that I'm going to love the fabric of what it's going to produce. Which is what I didn't do with my Miss Arena, and look what happened. I had to pull it all out. So do swatch, make sure you love the end result, the end fabric. But yeah, so that's what I did there. I went up half a needle size and down a size in garment. So yeah. Okay, in the first episode I might have mentioned that I only got back to knitting in a big way maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So what I try to do every year is set myself a challenge to learn a new technique, to do something out of my comfort zone. And I think it's really good to do that. And I think knitting is something that you can really do that with. You can really sort of step out of your comfort zone and try something new. So my challenge last year was to do a Stephen West shawl. Now, this is one of Stephen West's books, and he's a real artist. Some of his designs are seriously amazing, and when I first looked at them I wanted to run a mile. No, they're way too hard for me. But his patterns are really well written. The guy really is a genius. So I did pick one of his shawls to challenge myself with last year, and it was this one called Exploration Station. I saw a sample of it knitted up at Outlaw Yarn headquarters. I'm not a big shawl person. I don't wear a lot of shawls, but that was my challenge. And I did it. I'll show it to you. So this is my Exploration shawl. Let's see there. So it's got a lot of short rows. You can see through here where you knit short rows to get that wave effect. But my biggest challenge was the brioche. See there in the orange and white. Brioche didn't come easy to me. It's not my favourite stitch, but it was a challenge, and the end result was amazing, and I was really, really happy and pleased with myself. I think everyone should challenge themselves to do a brioche, maybe a course. I know a lot of yarn stores do a few courses, so where you can learn the technique. I think it's a technique that if you do a lot and often, it becomes easy. certainly worth doing. Like, I mean, that shawl is beautiful and I was really pleased with the end result. But I probably won't do much more brioche again. Tick that box. But yeah, it's really nice to challenge yourself and do something different. So that was my last year's challenge, was a Stephen West shawl. I have put the link below for that pattern. So if you're interested, go and have a look at it. He's got lots of others. I mean, like I said, the man's a genius. He's absolutely amazing. So yeah, go through and have a look at some of his patterns. You'll be absolutely amazed. But I have put the link below for that exact pattern. And my challenge for this year was Salbu socks. I watch a podcast called Grocery Girls. They're Canadian sisters who do a knitting podcast. Real hard cases, funny as, but some really good content. So if you get really bored, just go over and watch the Grocery Girls. But Tracy in the Grocery Girls had been knitting Salbu mittens and Salbu socks. So I did a bit of a search and I come across this book, Salbu Socks. You can buy these patterns individually, but I was just so taken by it I had to buy the book. The pattern I did was, there's 7 patterns in this book. I did this one here, the first pattern. Like, are they just not amazing? Now every pattern has a different. I'll see if I can show you a picture. I can't. The sole of every sock is different. It's like, I think they call it like a hidden treasure. It's just amazing. It's really stunning. So I did them in a blue and yellow colourway. You can see that. You see the pattern on the bottom. The detail is just incredible. And you know, they weren't that hard. They knitted up really quickly. I find colour work does knit up quickly because you're just going round and round and you just want to achieve the next pattern. So it just motivates you to want to keep going. I think they look really difficult. I think they look like a masterpiece, but I could do them. So if you've done colour work before and you've worked in the rounds in small circumference, trust me, you can do these socks and you'll be so proud and so pleased. For quite a while I didn't want to wear them. I actually just hung them on my wall as an ornament. I almost wanted to frame them. I thought they were that good. I'll show you. That's the inside. The inside looks nearly as good as the outside. So you do carry your floats. Like, seriously, I just think everyone should try these. They were not that difficult, and for the end result, for what you achieve at the end, so well worth it. I am going to do another pair. I want to do another pair in black and white. I've seen a picture in black and white and they look really good. So they're my Salbu socks. I have put a link to that pattern in the show notes if you want to go and have a look. But I thought I would just discuss with you how I did them. So I have the Chiagu interchangeable needles. They come in sets. And I have the little minis, which they're what I did the socks with. So what I've got there is a, is it a 1 inch? It's a 2 inch and a 3 inch. So the 3 inch I put in my right hand, my working hand, and I hold the 2 inch in my left hand. And that's just a nice circumference. So you just keep going round and round. And the cable's a 23 centimetre cable. That's what I did my Salbu socks on. Now, like I said, I bought the kit. Now, these kits are quite a big investment. Are they worth it? Hell yeah. If you can afford it and you do a lot of knitting, they're worth it. So that's the kit of the little minis. I have got a kit of the bigger 4 inch as well. But if you don't want to, invest that much money. You can buy, it's called a Chiagu Shorties Twist Combo Pack. And what that gives you is basically that. It gives you two of the 2-inch and 2 of the 3-inch and a couple of the small cables. And that will cost you around $40 for that combo pack, the Shorties combo pack. All you really have to decide is the needle size. So those socks I did on a 2.5, so you would buy that combo pack in a 2.5 mil. If you tend to do all your socks on a 2.25, buy the 2.25. If you do a 2.5, look, you may end up loving them that much that you end up with a set of 2.25 and a set of 2.5s, or even a set of 2.75s. Whatever your favourite size is for knitting socks is what you would buy. So $40 is it was a lot more affordable. If you did want to try knitting in the rounds, I know a lot of people use Magic Loop, and Magic Loop would work fine, but with that particular pattern, yeah, there's so much colour work that I didn't want a join anywhere. I just wanted to keep working in the circumference. So that is an option if you do want to try those socks and you don't want to use Magic Loop or DPNs. It's a nice introduction to the Chiagu interchangeables. Do a bit of research. Like I said, they are expensive. I bought mine over a period of a few years. I added to them, but I do understand that for a lot of people, they're right up there in price. So yeah, they were two challenges that I set for myself last year and this year. And I just wanted to put it out there to you that it's really nice to challenge yourself. There's a lot of people out there that may have never even knitted socks. So, yay, challenge yourself and knit a pair of socks. The same with shawls. Like I said, I'm not a big shawl wearer or a big shawl knitter. I have knitted a few. Yeah, they were my challenges and they were a lot of fun. Definitely with that shawl, I had to ask for help. I did do just a 2-hour course on brioche. I made a couple of mistakes. I do recommend that if you're doing something new like that, where you're challenging yourself and it's a new technique, to put in a lifeline, because I did have to pull it back a couple of times. Never a lot of fun. But yeah, ask for help, especially if you're in a knit group. There's normally so many ladies that are prepared to share some of their knowledge. So yeah, make a challenge. Go for it. Because I don't have a lot of knitting to show you, because it's only been 5 days and I haven't progressed too much with my knitting, I thought I would share with you some products that I've bought, some yarns that I've bought, some that I've tried, some that I haven't, just some recommendations. I thought it'd be really nice just to share them with you, because a lot of our yarn dyers and suppliers, you can't just walk into the local shop and buy them. So if you don't get to go to yarn festivals, yarn and knitting festivals, you may not even know that they're out there. So I just thought I'd love to share some of these indie dyers with you, some of the yarns and what they're doing. Why I'm talking about knitting festivals. Today should be the day that I am packing my bags to go to my first ever CAN, which is Knit August Nights Knitting Festival in Hawke's Bay, and it's run by the lovely Mowry from Skeins Yarns. So in New Zealand, it'd probably be the biggest, most social yarn and knitting festival that we have once a year. And I've actually tried to get there for 3 years. So 3 years ago, I didn't get there because my husband had a running event that we had already committed to. So last year was going to be my first CAN festival, and of course COVID happened, so I didn't get to go. This year's my 3rd attempt, and as you know, last week we went into lockdown and CAN is gone again. So fingers crossed for next year. But anyway, that's what I should be doing today, is packing. I was going with 2 other ladies from one of my knit groups. It was going to be a bit of a girls' weekend, just doing what we love in a beautiful part of the country. But yeah, it's a real bugger, and I know the work that that goes into putting these festivals on must be just massive. So my heart really goes out to you guys. I am really, really sorry that it couldn't go ahead. Sorry for everyone involved, but also sorry for people like myself that, yeah, had planned an amazing weekend. But anyway, we won't dwell on that. We'll just work on transferring all of our accommodation and our flights over to next year. Yay. So this is one product I wanted to share with you because I love it. I am a really big fan, and it's called Harnie Balm, and it's brought out by Yarn Therapy. Yarn Therapy is a indie dyer here in New Zealand. This is a really nice thick hand cream, and as knitters, you know, our hands get dry, but there's nothing worse than knitting and having a dry patch that keeps catching on your yarn, right? Like a split nail or a chipped nail, we can fix that easily. We just get our emery board and buff it out. But dry skin can be a real nuisance, especially if you're using yarn with silk and linen, and it can really pull on and grab the stitches. I have this in my knitting bag all of the time. What's amazing about this is it's super nourishing and super moisturising, but it doesn't affect your yarn. Now, I can't remember her name from Yarn Therapy, but she's gone as far as saying that she has actually soaked yarn in this just to test that it doesn't destroy or stain or affect any of the yarn, and it doesn't. So you can use this cream, you can give your hands a good old nourish, and you continue knitting, and you will not spoil your yarn. So before I come across this, I would never have used hand cream because I was scared that it would have an effect on the yarn that I was using. I highly recommend this product. This size here is the 65ml, and she sells it for $15. You can buy little 15ml tins, which are really handy because then you can have one in each project bag, and they're $5. I've put the link to this website on my notes below. It's a product that I really recommend. A great product if you've got knitting friends that you need to buy a gift for. Yeah, so I'll show you that again. Harnie Balm by Yarn Therapy, and it comes in 2 fragrances. I can't remember what they are. One's lemongrass, I think. But all 100% natural and 100% safe for all your yarn. Okay, real big thumbs up for that product. I just love it. I said before, I do apologise that I didn't have a skein of the yarn, the Mcsilkface that the Adira was knitted in, but I have got a couple of other skeins in my stash that I thought I'd share with you because once again they're indie dyers. I showed you before, this was Happy Go Knitty, what was that? Amalfi. That's what I've done my Adira in. Well, I've also got a Happy Go Knitty Mowry. Now Mowry is 60% superwash merino, 20% silk and 20% yak. Now this is a beautiful fine 4-ply. It's got like a high twist. It feels like it would be really light and really drapey. I'm actually I've got a couple of these skeins. The colour's called English Mustard, and I'm going to do another summer top in it. I'm thinking I have got a pattern that I was going to show you in the next episode that's a summer top with colour work, and I may use this in that top, but I'll show you that in the next episode. But Happy Go Knitty. So she's got a couple of different bases, so yeah, jump on and have a look. I also showed you last time Prosper yarn. Now this is the yarn that I have done my pink fizz in, But this one here is 70% merino, 30% linen. So once again, would make a really nice summer top. Would be really good in this pattern, I think. I'm just loving anything with linen at the moment. Just can't get enough of it. So Prosper Yarn, that's another Kiwi dyer. And the lady that Yarn Therapy that does the Yarny Bum, she also does a really good range of yarns. This one here I have of hers. I've got a couple of skeins of this, and this is also 90% superwash, superfine merino and 10% linen. And in this one you can actually see the linen. See the little white bits that pop out? It's the linen. And you can tell, right, it's one of my colours, denim. So, yeah, merino and linen. And that's another one that you could also do a summer top in, or this actual Adira. So they're three indie dyers that, yeah, so jump on and have a look what's on their websites and what they've got and what's available. It's always fun to do. I did also tell you in my last episode that I had 2 new cast-ons, and I haven't cast them on because it's only been 5 days. One of them was my basic raglan, and to knit that I was using a new app that's out there called Ballish, available only for Apple at the moment. But yeah, I was wondering if any of you have actually jumped online and had a look at that app. Yeah, tell me what you think. But I haven't cast it on yet. And my other one was the Kuta summer top, which I have here, which if you watched me last week you would have seen it, but I thought I'd just remind you. Kuta. So I really want to cast those on in the next couple of days. I know that I'm really close to the finish line with my floozy too. Maybe a day or two, and then I can give myself permission to cast on a new project. So I need to do that. Hey, I need to just cast off at least one project before I can give myself permission to cast on the next. I'll tell you what days I love, and I don't know if anyone else has these days, but I have what I call cast on days, where I wake up in the morning and I get so excited and I get the patterns out ready that I'm going to cast on, and I wind the yarn. So a lot of yarn that I buy is in skeins, and so it needs to be wound up into cakes. So I dig out my my yarn winder and my ball winder, and I make a cup of tea and I put on a podcast, and I'll sit there for a couple of hours and I wind yarn, I organise my pattern, get the needles out that I need, and that excites me. Just the preparation work involved in a new cast on is pretty exciting. Maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. I do get just as much pleasure out of the knitting, but the actual process leading up to knitting, yeah, it's pretty exciting. There was, here it is. There was 2 more yarns that I wanted to show you. I have spoke to you before about Kiwiana, and she's based here in Christchurch, and she does a high twist merino. I do think she said to me that it's actually the mill that does it for her, does it exclusively for her, so that's pretty special. So you've got to go to Kiwiana to buy it. Now I have used her high twist quite a bit, and I love it because there's very little, well, there's no fluff and there's no pilling involved. Now this colour is called dark denim, and I have done a whole jersey in this, and I thought about showing it to you, but I thought I won't because I will wear it in one of my episodes, and that can be what I'm wearing part of my episode. So it's nice to see the finished garment actually on. But dark denim is also one of her most popular colours, and I've got a few friends that have also knitted this dark denim, and they all say by far it's one of their favourite tops, or one of their favourite jerseys that they knit is this high twist dark denim. So really recommend that you go and have a look. also in the high twist, she does a lot of different colourways. Now I've got this one here. I'm not sure if it's still available because a lot of the colourways come and go. I bought this last year, and my plan with this is to do another Rebel cardigan. So that's a little cropped cardigan with 3/4 sleeves that I wore last week. That is the yarn I have put aside for my next Rebel. How exciting, right? I won't mind it though. It just has to wait in my queue. But yep, that's yeah, so that's, I think that's all of the new products that I wanted to discuss with you and feature. Excuse me, I was going to have a cup of coffee. So I mentioned before, and I don't want to dwell on it, we are in lockdown, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of you, like myself, have been going through your stash. Stash diving, yay. And often, not often, but what I've got to say, being in lockdown, you reflect on things, right? And I often reflect on how lucky I am, in the sense that none of us like lockdown, but I'm lucky because I've got a nice warm home, I've got a safe home, and I knit. You know, for me, being in lockdown's a bit of a holiday because I get to just stay home and knit. Which also brings me to the subject of charity knitting. Now, personally, I haven't done a lot of charity knitting. I have donated wool to go to charity knitting, but I haven't done a lot myself. But I want to give a shout out to all of those out there that do charity knitting. You do an amazing job, and I have seen at some of the knit festivals just tables full of beanies and singlets and cardigans for babies, for the maternity units in hospitals, but also for like some of the homeless shelters. Yeah, a lot of beanies, fingerless gloves. That's just some incredible work done by charity knitters. So I thought it was a really good time to go through my stash, and I am pretty sure that a lot of you, like myself, have leftover balls of wool that are left over from a project, and they're one-offs that you think you may use one day, and 2, 3, 4, 5 years later they're still sitting there. And I thought, I'm just not going to use them. It's just a single ball that I'm not going to use. So I have put a bag of some of those leftovers together to donate to charity knitters. I was in a local wool shop a couple of weeks ago, and I heard some friends talking about charity knitters, and the actual shop owner sort of said, we donate to charity knitters, but our we're limited. You know, we can't just keep giving. And I know what that's like when you're running a business, that you can't just keep giving, although you have a set allocated amount that you do give to charity. But a lot of those local yarn stores do operate as drop-off centres, and you can drop off your yarn there and they'll make sure it gets to the right people to do the charity knitting. But I also thought, wouldn't it be good to do a pay it forward? And we hear that term a lot now, that we all want to give a little bit or donate something. So I've kind of made it a bit of a conscious effort that every time I go out and make a purchase of a sweater quantity full of yarn, I am going to buy one ball of yarn to donate to charity knitting. And it's not for everyone, because everyone gives to charities in different ways, so I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, because I don't. But that's an example. That's Ashford's 4-ply Mackenzie Country Merino. There's about 400 metres in there, 350 metres, and that retails for about $19.99. So I've made it a goal that 3 or 4 times a year I'm going to buy one of these and leave it at my local yarn store to pay it forward to charity knitters. Yeah, just a thought that, like I said, go through your stash, see what you've got, and let's try to give it back. Anyway, that's all I'll say on that matter, but yeah, I thought it was, yeah, I just feel good doing that sort of thing. So the next thing I wanted to talk about I mentioned in my last podcast about how much things had changed when I come back to knitting. If you're a really experienced knitter, you may want to tune out because I don't want to bore you. This next section may be a little bit boring for you, but I thought I would just put it out there, some of the things that were introduced to me when I first come back to knitting that were really helpful and I thought quite amazing. But when I first started going to my knit group, all the ladies were wearing these fabulous shawls, these little throw around. I was in awe of it. You know, they weren't just a scarf, they were actually shaped shawls, and that was all new to me. So one of the ladies had said to me, oh yeah, we all did knit along, we all knitted this. It's really easy, only takes one skein of wool, and it's this, and it's called Hitchhiker. It's a pattern that's available, a bit of reflection from my window there. It's available on Ravelry, and I've put the link below. It's not a free pattern, but it's such a good pattern. It's easy. It's an 8-row repeat. It takes one skein of yarn. You can do it watching TV. That's what I call it, like my TV knitting. But what I love about it too is I wish I had one to show you, and I haven't, because they're generally my go-to for gifts. They make really nice gifts. People that you know that are knit-worthy and love hand knitted garments, that's the perfect pattern. So that's Hitchhiker, takes one skein of wool. So a lot of us have that one skein that we bought on impulse that we really didn't have a plan for. That's still sitting in our stash. So yeah, if you've just come back to knitting or you're new to knitting and you want to try something that's a bit asymmetrical but something that's got a good purpose, you know that you'll wear a lot, or you'll know that you'll knit a lot of them to give to gifts, that's the perfect pattern, Hitchhiker. And the other one is called Close to You. I should have taken that out of the plastic sleeve. Close to You, I've also put the link on show notes down below. It's another one that just only takes one skein. It's a nice, easy knit. It's got a bit of lace work. Perfect gift knitting. So if you're thinking Christmas gifts now's the time to start. And you've got a couple of odd skeins of wool laying around. They're two patterns. Like I said, they were introduced to me when I first started going to knit group, and I love them. I just thought they were amazing, and I probably would never have found them without the help of other people. Yeah, both of them are done on a circular needle. Well, they can be done on straights, but that was also a nice introduction for me to work on circular needles. So I used a 4mm with a 80cm, I think, cable. So once again, if you're looking at maybe getting into using circular needles or buying interchangeable needles, that's a nice pattern to start with. And yeah, you'll probably knit lots of them. Once you've seen it too, you'll see that pattern, you'll think, yeah, I've seen them around. I've seen ladies in knit shops or knit groups wearing those. They're pretty popular. Okay, so I think that's about all I've got today. Like I said, it's only been 5 days since my first podcast. I hope to get better. I hope I don't come across too nervous. It is quite nerve-wracking, but I'm also really enjoying it. So thank you for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, and if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Lisa NZ Knitter. I have put that in the show notes below, but I've also put everything that I've discussed, all the yarns and the patterns that I've discussed. I've put the links for all of those below in the show notes. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you want to leave any messages, please do so. Any questions, I'm happy to answer. Not sure when I'm going to do my next podcast. Like, my goal was always maybe 10 to 14 days. But hey, let's see where this lockdown takes us. Let's see how much knitting I get done. I do have quite a few new patterns that I have found in the last few days that I do want to share with you. So I'll leave those for the next episode. And hopefully maybe shops have opened and we can start buying some wool or at least ordering it. Yeah, that'll be exciting. But thank you very much. Stay safe, everybody. Stay happy and keep knitting. See you next time. Thank you.